Hello and welcome to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. I am your host, Kaylin John Louis, and I am so overjoyed to be on the air with you all today. Just a friendly reminder, as the pandemic is not yet over, to please practice safety precautions to ensure your and others' safety. And if you feel comfortable, go ahead and get vaccinated. And before I go any further, I encourage you right now to download the Hallelujah 95.3 app so you can listen to the radio show on the go on your electronic devices. Also, make sure that you tag a team and have them listen in because today's discussion is going to be very impactful, and I believe that this is going to be extremely powerful. Now, if you've been paying attention to the news, you can see that there's a lot going on in the world. But one of the hot topics this week is Kentaji Brown Jackson and her nomination to become the first woman of color Associate Justice to serve in the U.S. Supreme Court. Currently, they are commencing confirmation hearings to gather information about her, but it seems that they've turned into asking meritless questions that go beyond the subject matter. To many, this is not surprising whatsoever because it seems that women, especially African American women, have to work twice as hard to get anywhere in life. After several historic events, you would think women would have done enough to finally be treated as equals to their male counterparts. However, it's 2022, and we're still seeing the same problems go on. So today, I want to focus on this subject. It's 2022. When will history stop repeating itself? Seriously, think about it, because you see in so many things with history, you've seen wars, you've seen so many things, but especially when it comes to women's rights, it seems like we keep getting a step ahead and then backing track a few steps. It seems like we're going back in this realm. And if you've been going on, if you haven't heard anything about Kentaji Brown Jackson, I do want to be able to let you know about who she is and what's going on. So Kentaji Brown Jackson is an African-American federal judge who was nominated by President Biden to fill the seat of retiring Supreme Court Justice Stephen Brewer. For 233 years, no woman of African-American or Black descent has served on the highest court in the land. And for her to have this nomination, when I tell you it's such an honor to be able to see another woman of color, another African-American woman to just step in the place of encouragement, step in a leadership role that's going to impact so many people. I mean, even as a teenager seeing that, it's amazing to see someone who looks like me, see someone who's not the typical male figure or the typical white American. I'm able to see me in a lot of different ways through Kentaji Brown, and she inspires me to continue to be an encourager. She's making history as the potential first Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court, y'all. That is amazing. And so I do want to say I commend Joe Biden because President Biden, he took that initiative to appoint her to this position. He could have chose anyone else, but he knew that she was ready for a time as this. And I truly believe that God has placed her in this position for a time of this. She is the wife of Dr. Patrick Graves Jackson and the mother of two daughters named Leela and Talila Jackson. She first started thinking about a career in law as a child when her father went back to law school. Then through high school, she participated in speech and debate competitions, which aided her in public speaking. She also showed great leadership because she was elected to be class president by her peers all years of high school. How amazing is that? And then after receiving her high school diploma, she graduated magna cum laude from Harvard College and cum laude from Harvard Law School. Now, everybody knows Harvard. They know that that's the topic, the top school, the top accolade where everyone goes when you're really trying to be great and you're really trying to impact the world. And I can go on and on and on about her academic achievements and professional accolades because she truly has accomplished a lot. However, it seems that after all those accomplishments, she's still dealing with the fate of being an African-American woman in the workforce. And you may be wondering, what is that? What do you mean by that? I mean, you can clearly see that even from back in history, when they had the women's suffrage movement and the women's right movement, they had to do a lot just to be able to get equal pay, just to be able to work alongside their male counterparts, to be able to be seen as professional. women back then were told to stay in the homes and take care of your husband, but now they're stepping out in these leadership roles. And so you see Kentaji Brown and you see all the many things that she's doing, but then you still see her struggling. Even in her current confirmation trials, she's surrounded by white male counterparts who are trying to ask every question they can, even if it goes beyond the actual topic about being in the Supreme Court. They've gone so far into questioning her about critical race theory, accusing her of lessening the charges of drug dealers and child sex offenders in court cases, and even testing her core values. They're trying to go after things that they think will break her down. But as others have seen, and if you have been watching the news, she has not let that break her. She has stood firm and tall, not allowing people's opinions, not allowing their ambiguous and their crazy ideologies to come towards her and to affect her. She's allowing this time right now to truly showcase what she believes in, and she's not allowing people to stop her. And it's just so sad to know that it's 2022 and we're in Women's History Month. We're supposed to be celebrating all the great things that women are doing, but we still see that women are not being treated as equal, especially if they're minorities, because they're working twice as hard to get paid half of what they are giving. And then not only that, but even as she is in these calls, just because of her race and her gender, she's being treated differently. She's being asked so many crazy things, and it's sad. I mean, you have so many people who they can go up in court and they can say, this is what I believe in, and they get automatically voted in. But she sat through that confirmation hearing for 23 hours. They could have probably done that in maybe 3 to 4 hours, but they continued questioning her. They got even to topics of questioning her motherhood, questioning her race, her intellect, and her religion. But she's so much more than that. And so my question is, when will we change the narrative? I mean, we're supposed to be equal. The America was built on being independent. Everybody's supposed to have equality and everybody's supposed to be free. But we still see that people are being left behind in a system where they don't believe that African Americans to be greater than what they were in the past. They try to treat us like we're different in that we don't know what we're doing. And then when we have a voice, they try to silence it. I mean, if you listened last week, I was talking about standing up and speaking and being the change you want to see. And now we see a living example with Miss Brown, Miss Jackson. She's sitting here. She is representing all the many young African American girls, just young women in general who have an idea. And we're able to look at her and say, she's doing it. She's stepping out. She didn't know it was going to be easy, and I'm sure she didn't think it was going to be easy, but she's still stepping out. And it's so ironic that this is going on during Women's History Month because we're supposed to be celebrating those challenges. But we have to keep knowing that as much as we're going through this and as much as we're seeing change happen and we're celebrating change, you can never forget about what's going on in the real world. Miss Kentanji, she is an incredible woman. And instead of them just looking at her and accepting her for the incredible woman they are, they're using different labels. Oh, I'm a label. You're a woman. You're African American. You have a voice. Oh, we're going to silence that. Or we're going to try and find ways to knock you down. And she could have been typical person where every time they threw something, she got an attitude, but she kept her resilience and she continues to keep her resilience. Not only is she inspiring young women around the world, but she's personally inspiring me as a young woman who is trying to receive higher education after high school and who is currently a change agent in my community. All this is making me wonder, will I have to go through these same troubles just so my voice can be heard? Will I have to go through these same tribulations of people asking me random questions that have nothing to do with what I'm doing? I mean, we've got to make change, y'all. I mean, I understand some people are still stuck in their views, but it's 2022. This is not the 1950s. We're not in a time where we can't make a difference, where we can't find a way to change this narrative. Because if we keep letting history repeat itself, we're just going to keep going in circles and never, ever make change. I mean, even with racism. I mean, you heard of racism in the past. You heard of sexism in the past. And you would think that after all the different amendments, all the different acts, all the different things that our founding fathers and our ancestors have done to get us to a better place, that it would be over. But no, people are just finding ways to bring it back in different ways and different lights because nobody's truly wanting to change. We have to get to a place where you can look at someone and say, I'm not threatened by you because you're a woman. I'm not threatened by you because you're African American. I simply just want to see you be great. We can't keep holding each other back and trying to keep each other from being what we were called to be. That's not what America is. It's what America has turned to over the years, but we are so much better than this. And people like me, all these teenagers who are watching now, we're the future. We can't keep allowing this to keep going. We can't allow people to continuously treat people different because of the color of their skin, because of their gender, because of their religious views. We have to stop letting history repeat itself. And right now, I'm a junior in high school. In my history class, I'm learning a lot, even about the news constantly every day. And it seems like every day this year, every time we learn something in the past, I keep seeing it right now in 2022. And it's sad. We talked about different things going on with war. Now we see Russia and Ukraine at war. We're now talking about different things with the civil rights movement and how women are trying to get rights and what women were supposed to do. And then you see people like Kentaji Brown and other influential women who are having to sit through things, who are having to tolerate idiotic questions and dumb comments. You're having people who are even trying to challenge her way of motherhood. Like, why are we in this place where we can't just accept each other for who you are, for who we are? Because despite Miss Kentaji Jackson being a Black woman, being a woman in general, being a woman who wants to make a difference, she's simply someone who just wants to show people the way, who wants to make the judicial system better. And I mean, she is a true embodiment of goodness and perseverance. She's shining brighter after every round of questioning she survives. No matter how many times people are trying to knock her down, no matter how many articles are coming out, how many people think that it can't be done, she's making history. And we have to be able to get to a point. I mean, this is a serious question to think about. Am I going to have to deal with this? Are other young African American girls, young women in general, going to have to keep dealing with this? Because it's not fair. It's not fair for people to keep going through life and acting like we can't make change. We make change all the time. You have social media as an influence. You have so many things right now that can aid us. We cannot keep going through this cycle, y'all. We have to be better. And even with seeing things going on with this hearing and seeing how the system works, you see Ms. Kentaji Brown, she's surrounded by a bunch of male senators and a bunch of people who don't relate to her. They may all have different perspectives, but they're all males, and a lot of them are they happen to be Caucasian males, different background than her, different gender than her. And because she's a woman, they make her feel like, oh, I don't know if you're professional enough, so we're going to start questioning you about your professionalism. We're going to question you about things. You think you can handle this? You think you're strong enough for this? To every girl who may be listening, use Miss Kentaji Brown as an example. Don't allow people to put you in a corner. You got to stand up for what you believe in, even when people try to throw things at you, even when they are trying to throw these curveballs of asking you ridiculous questions or saying, I don't think you can do this. I don't think you should be in this position. You can't allow that to stop you. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing, because no matter what, we are the future. They can try and put us in a corner if they want, but us women, us young ladies, we are the future. We're going to make history. And we're not going to make history that continues to repeat and repeat, where we go into a high place and then we're back down. Because I feel like we're in such a roller coaster right now. We have so many things where, oh, we think this is going to happen because they're enforcing different rights, that people won't show hatred, or people won't be racist, or people won't be sexist towards each other. But then we end up going back. My question is, especially with the Supreme Court, how can y'all make a difference? I mean, if I was in the Supreme Court right now, if I was listening to her, I would be sitting there listening to her story. But I encourage and I wish that people in the court system, those senators who are listening, the people who are going to be voting on whether or not she should be a part of the Supreme Court, I need y'all to have an open ear. I need y'all to prepare for change, because a lot of times when people step up and they have these new ideas, people get afraid of success. But you can't allow that success or allow that person who seems successful to intimidate you. Yes, she's an African American Black woman, and she is a woman who wants to make change. But please open your ears. Please listen. And I mean, this is just my opinion. I know you hear me, and I can go on and on about how amazing she is. But I wanted to take the time, especially today, to allow you to hear from some different perspectives, because I got the time to interview a few people from my school about how they felt from this situation. And so I just want you to take a minute to listen to what they had to say about what's going on in the world.
Oh, it is 2022, and we're seeing that history seems to be repeating itself. Even right now in the news, you have Miss Kentaji Brown Jackson, who is trying to be one of the first African American women in the Supreme Court justice. How do you feel about it?
I think it's a great thing. I think we've been waiting, like the Black community has been, especially Black women have been waiting for that representation in our judicial system, especially in the highest court in the land. So I am very excited to see that Miss Brown Jackson has finally broken that glass ceiling.
Honestly, it makes me feel amazing and very proud for my culture and my history as an African American woman in the community who is also aspiring to a legal career, to know that it's possible to get to that height. It does concern me that law, which is supposed to be a separate area of our society, is being intermingled with politics and minor details in society that are affecting smaller groups of people. I do have hope that Kentaji can provide better aspects to our society as a different perspective, but I hope also that the Senate will take this time to realize that there's a lot of wrong being done behind closed doors.
And we commemorate President Joe Biden just for being able to make this notion to have an African American woman in the Supreme Court. So after seeing this, you see that she's making history and she's doing a lot of things. But then you also have those concerns of people not treating her correctly because she is a woman. How does that make you feel?
And it makes me frustrated that there's still these walls to face in 2022, which is supposed to be a time when opinions are supposed to be more open. But it also makes me feel determined to know that I can help make a difference for girls who come after me.
I think that's always been the case in our society. We see that in our society, we treat women as second-class citizens, and that's not right. Just because Miss Brown Jackson is a woman and a mother and was pregnant and all these other things does not mean that she is incapable of being a Supreme Court justice. It does not mean that she is soft on crime. Maybe it means that she does not want to see boys that look like her sons or daughters in a prison system that is the largest in the world. I think Brown Jackson is good for us because she will bring a change that is much needed into our judicial system, especially in the highest court in the land. And I think we need that. We need that representation. We need someone who has that voice. And I think she's a great candidate to usher in a new era, as we have seen in the past few years, as racial injustice has become more noticed by the larger community in our society.
Right. Even with that, I mean, you are a teenager who is trying to make a difference in the world and trying to aspire to help others. So how does this inspire you?
I think it makes me happy to know that someone else is doing it too. It makes you feel inspired that a woman can go up there, and a Black woman and a woman who looks just like me can be in the highest court in the land and can be the one making those decisions, and can even be like, just have the courage to go up in front of congressmen and senators and all these other people and say, I should be here. I belong here and I have enough merit and enough qualifications to do this job and to do it well. I think that it makes it easier on me to do such things in the future. I think it ushers in the era of a Black female president. I think it ushers in the era of issues by the younger generation being taken into account. And I think that this decision in having a Black female justice is one that has been neglected for far too long. And I'm glad that someone finally decided to see the importance enough in having a justice who looks like us in our court system.
Very, very inspirational. And just to capitulate and to end it off, I do want to say, what is something you would say to just even the U.S. Supreme Court? What would you tell them? What things would you want them to do differently when they are trying her in these hearings?
I think we need to accept that the Supreme Court is supposed to be separate from politics, but it's also supposed to have dozens of, 9 different perspectives on that bench, because every one of us in the United States is different. Just because she is a mother does not mean that she will have any different will have any setbacks from her work or from what she does now, because she's on a CRT board just means that it is a different perspective. That you think that she is soft on crime, maybe she's not soft on crime. Maybe she has a thing about making sure that our prison system does not disproportionately affect communities that are underserved. Bringing in her perspective is good for us. It is good for the United States. It's good for creating a better union, and it works towards what our founding fathers intended for this country. So I hope that the senators and congressmen trying her remember that as we move forward in these hearings.
Man, I tell you, that's amazing. I mean, it's so many people, so many amazing women, so many amazing people in the world who have perspectives just like the ones you listen to. I mean, to know that we have someone, like they were saying in the interview, that representation does matter. I mean, we've seen males, we've seen so many people in power, especially presidentially. We see that there's always a male there and that there's always people there. And we were amazing and we were really, really happy when Kamala Harris was able to get the vice president, because it was an amazing milestone for another woman to be in power as a representative of all the other African American women and just women in general who want to make a difference. And so having another one step up, Miss Kentaji Brown, just for her initiative, her perseverance to keep going, even while so many people constantly want to knock her down, while they are trying not to believe in her and trying to get others to not believe in her. It's amazing. And I think another thing that I found amazing while watching these hearings and being able to see the different pictures was that she had her own daughters there. She allowed the people in the crowd to see that it's not just me that I'm paving the way for. I'm paving the way for my future generations and other generations to come. I mean, she had her daughters were sitting there supporting her, listening to the things that the other senators were saying about her mother, and just being able to see the courage that her mom is taking, the perseverance, the strength, the determination to keep going. No matter how many times they try to bring her down or how many times they try to get a reaction out of her and cause her to act irrationally, they were able to see what excellence looks like. Not just regular excellence, Black excellence. They were able to see what being a woman and using your voice truly looks like. And even though Black History Month is over and Women's History Month is over, we're not going to keep stopping. We're not going to allow this same narrative, this same story of history constantly repeating itself, even besides it being with women. We need to stop this. We're in 2022. And I know I keep saying that, but when will we get it? When will people take the time to change the narrative, to stop believing other things about people, stop making rumors? When will we get to a point where our success is not determined by the color of our skin, our gender, or our background? We got to find a way to change it, because it's a new year, and as time keeps evolving, if we don't face these issues and we don't get them head on, we're just going to end up right back where we were. Be like Miss Kentaji Brown Jackson. Even when she was addressing other teenagers in the community, her main word to us was to persevere. Persevere through every trial and tribulation, especially as women. Don't allow them to silence you. No matter how hard people bring things to you or how many times people try to knock you down, persevere. Never give up and keep going. Because if she can do it, so can you. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you continue to watch the news. If you hadn't heard anything about it, or you have not been watching the news, now you know what's going on. Go ahead and look. Go look at history being made, because history is in the making. I thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I ask that you know that you can do anything that you want to do. And another thing that I want to say before we end is that Senator Cory Booker, when he was addressing Miss Brown Jackson, he was one of the people that was able to say something so nice to her and something. And he told her, "You have earned this. You are worthy. And you are a great American." I believe he wasn't just talking to her. He's talking to all the change agents in the world. You have earned this spot to be able to sit around other people, to be able to use your voice for change, because you are worthy. You are a great person and a great American. Be who you want to be. So I hope that you got something out of that. But before I do get off, I do have one announcement that I do want to say, that Doc D, if you've been listening to Hallelujah 95.3, you know that he recently announced that he and the radio station are a candidate to be nominated for the Small Market Radio Station of the Year for the 2022 Stellar Awards in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm asking, as a member of this radio station, that you go ahead and vote for Tallahassee's highest praise, Hallelujah 95.3 FM. In order to do so, you must go to www.thestellarawards.com. And once you're there, click on Radio Ballot and go down to Small Market Radio Station of the Year. And please, please, please vote Hallelujah 95.3. Again, that is www.thestellarawards.com to vote. Go ahead and help this amazing radio station get recognized for the great things they're doing in the community, to just spread the word and be able to encourage people on a daily basis. Also, before I leave, I ask that you please hashtag connect with me, spelled with the K, on all my social media platforms. You can reach me on YouTube by subscribing to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin YouTube channel and by turning on your post notifications. We also ask that you follow on Instagram at Kaylin Cares 15. You also can follow on Facebook and LinkedIn at Kaylin's Caring Connection. And last but certainly not least, to be able to find out all things about Kaylin's Caring Connection, upcoming events, the radio show, anything Kaylin's Caring Connection, or if you want to just get to know a little bit more about me, you can go to www.kaylinscaringconnection.com to see more about all things Kaylin's Caring Connection. Now, I hope you all know that I am here to inspire you, and I'm here to keep making these inspirational moments to come. But I also want you to know that I would not be able to be here without you all's support, and so I'm very appreciative. Always know that you can be the change that you want to see, and be like Miss Kentaji Brown Jackson. Put your mind to it. Persevere. Know you can do anything. And if no one has told you today, know that I love you so much. Thanks for listening, and catch me on the next KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show.